Welcome, A Call for Love listeners. I am so grateful you're here. Today, we have such an interesting conversation and a new just experience that you may have never heard of because I know I haven't. And I'm talking to Lena, who's the owner of Goji Studio, located just at the border of Oakville and Burlington in Ontario, Canada. And she is celebrating her 1 year anniversary as a boutique yoga studio. And what that means is that it's an all-inclusive experience. And she's going to share more about that. Really, why we're here talking to her today is that she has become a Sadhu master. You may not know what that is, but you will learn along with myself. She is a yoga teacher and a sound bath practitioner. And while continuing to explore the various healing modalities, Lena became fascinated with the Sadhu board, standing practice from the very first step. After deepening her practice first, she became a Sadhu master. So she first tried it, and now she is a master. And she will guide others through this transformational experience that nourishes not only your mind, but also your body, heart, and soul. And so, Lena, welcome to A Call for Love. I'm so glad you're here. I really want to learn about your journey, how you have opened your studio, what is going on in your studio, because I see a lot of fantastic offerings. And I want to learn more about Sadhu.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Linda, for having this conversation with me today. I'm very excited. And yes, it's been quite a journey with the yoga practice. When initially I took my yoga teacher training, I thought I was just doing it for myself to deepen my knowledge. And I didn't really see how the whole path will unfold for me, where eventually I would open a studio, and there is a team of other yoga teachers that are there, and we just continue sharing that love and passion for yoga and wellness in general with others, with the community.
Yes, a couple of my friends are teachers at your studio.
That's awesome. Yes.
I've been to it. It's very beautiful. And I noticed that you have all natural products there.
Yes. So the idea is we provide the cork mats, cork blocks, the cleaning, like the cleaning products that we're using. They are all organic and natural. So we want to be in alignment with being organic and natural.
Yeah, the philosophy of yoga is really creating a deeper awareness. It's union. It means to yoke. And so we want to be one with our planet, one with the earth.
Absolutely.
So to honor the earth, yeah, I really love that you do all that. But let's talk about Sadhu.
Mm-hmm.
So I am sure, because I had no idea what Sadhu is about. And I'd really love to hear from you what Sadhu is.
Yes, absolutely. So Sadhu board standing practice, it's pretty much practice of standing on boards with nails. And it has come to us from ancient India, where there was a group of people that were called Sadhu, which from Sanskrit means monks, holy men. They would practice standing on nails, on the board with nails, to strengthen their mind and body connection, to become more resilient to stress. And it's also a spiritual experience.
Yeah, it's so interesting because, you know, I've heard of walking on coals as a practice. And I suppose I've heard of walking on nails, but I really find it interesting how it developed. So you're saying that the monks, who are called sadhus, they wanted to practice on nails because they were climbing mountains?
Yes, climbing mountains or just preparing for pilgrimage, and it was a practice to do the pilgrimage barefoot. So to prepare for that, they would use those boards with nails to prepare themselves physically, emotionally, and just to build that stamina, resilience to stress.
And why were they, I guess because this was a long time ago, they had to walk their pilgrimage on bare feet? Or was it a choice, or was it part of their practice, or why in their bare feet?
It's probably both. I don't have the exact answer to that question. It may be because the practice stems to these days from like a couple of thousands years ago. So at that time, I would assume like wearing footwear was not like a common thing, especially if it wasn't a person who is coming from a wealthy family.
Yeah, I guess that was, I mean, they would be minimalists,
Mm-hmm. Yes.
not attaching to material possessions. And so the Sadhu practice, as you're speaking, I create a parallel between, I had taken the guitar and then I haven't been playing it a couple of years now, and I'm going to take it up again. And the thought of, building the calluses on my hand to press into the strings is quite painful at the beginning until you build the calluses, that tougher skin. So is this what is required from Sadhu practice as well?
I would say it's more being able to handle it from mind-body connection point of view. Because when I started it initially, I would step on my nail board, and the pain initially is there, so it feels overwhelming. And I just remember that I need to breathe and relax, because when we breathe and relax, we just accept things as they are, without giving a certain interpretations to, let's say, uncomfortable sensations. So I thought it would never be easier for me to step on the board with nails, but with practice, it has changed and it has become more effortless. So I would say it's more of how you approach a practice and what you attach to that discomfort, especially the initial discomfort of stepping on boards with nails.
Yeah, I would completely imagine it's a mind practice.
Mm-hmm, absolutely. Yeah.
Now, this may be a silly question, but do you hurt yourself? Like, does it pierce your skin?
It doesn't. You can, after like practicing for some time, you would see kind of like dimples on the soles of the feet, which disappear within probably an hour, not even an hour. It never punctures the skin because of even distribution of weight on that board with nails.
Yeah, I was wondering if you would, like, I feel like I would want to put one foot on and keep one foot on the ground and gradually put my weight on the foot.
Yes, Linda, you're absolutely right. It's definitely a process that you wouldn't be rushing in. And so when I became a Sadhu master, the idea is that I am able to guide others through that process. And my first experience was also with someone who was qualified to guide me, because there are different ways of starting. So there is a way of sitting on a chair, slowly placing the feet on the boards, and then gradually increasing the pressure where eventually a person is ready to fully step on those boards. or if, let's say, we are doing it from standing, then there is a guide who also is there to support you, and you can lean on your guide while doing one step at a time, like 1 foot at a time.
Oh, yeah, I think I really like the idea of being seated and
Mhm.
slowly getting up. That seems very comfortable.
And that's something that is recommended, especially if a person is trying it for the first time. Sometimes just doing that and not fully standing on nails is also enough for someone to go through the process, because this practice is a process. And intention plays a big role in this practice as well, just as with a yoga class.
Yeah, absolutely. And how did you really find about it in Canada?
I find it's everything that is new is well forgotten old
Oh,
practice,
yeah.
right? Which
Oh,
we obviously see now that I started learning more about it. It is coming from India. It has become more popular in Europe, in, for example, Kazakhstan, where I'm originally from. And one of my friends, a good friend, she lives here. She introduced me to the practice after becoming a Sadhu master as well. So, for example, even the nail boards that I order, they are from Kazakhstan, because there is a master who is producing those nail boards. Really beautiful. They are like a masterpiece. I can show it to you. And yeah, and he produces it for people around the world.
do you have one there that you could show us?
Yes, absolutely.
So if you are listening to A Call for Love, you will not notice or see it, but this is on YouTube as well. So take a look on YouTube, but I will describe it as best as I can. So she's going to hold up. And I believe there's two, one for each foot, correct?
Yes, so I actually have like two different ones, and this is the one that I started with because there is also such thing as um, the distance between the nails. And for someone who is practicing for the first time, it's recommended to go with 8 millimeters between nails. So the smaller the distance, the easier it's supposed to be. So
I
this
guess so,
is
because the load is more evenly distributed. Yeah, so what she's holding up is a beautiful wooden board. And on the front, there is a beautiful lotus. And who is that? There's a female.
it's a lady with the third eye chakra open.
Yeah, beautiful. And of course, the nails are quite close together. Are they a little dull at the top or are they very, very spiky?
Um, I would say like medium, not extremely spiky, but they are also not.
Very
Yeah, they're
flat.
also not supposed to be dull.
Yeah, and
So
I would imagine
mhm,
listeners are saying, "Oh, I am never like that does not interest me at all." And then
mhm,
someone that think, "Oh, that would be interesting to see how my mind would react, the instinctual instinctive reaction to want to get off.
mhm.
It would be very interesting. I know that I had seen you on social media post about it, and I said, "Oh, that sounds great. Yeah, I'd love to try it because I always am so gung ho." And then when I thought about it a little bit more, I was like, "Oh, well, I have to really be in the proper mindset."
Absolutely, Linda, I agree with you. I always say that if you see something and you feel that it resonates with you, it's worth exploring. But then at the same time, I wouldn't recommend someone going on a Sadhu board just because of curiosity. Like curiosity is an amazing thing, right? Like it allows us to expand our horizons and try new things. There is more to this. So I would say it's an intention, and it can be any intention from letting go of some of the things from the past that are holding a person from realizing their full potential. It may be going after a particular dream. And when we have a very clear intention and we step on nails, whatever comes up for us in terms of our mind telling us, oh, you can't do that, or it's too painful, it's too uncomfortable, or whatever comes up for us in terms of the emotions, that's also an information about what may be holding us back from going after our dreams.
Yeah, there's a quote that says, how you do one thing is often how you do many things.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I notice actually as you're talking. I notice about meditation, you know, as you become the observer of your thoughts and your, you know, your body sensations during a meditation, it's the inclination to push away or cling to pleasant thoughts, and really noticing that and not giving into it.
Yes. Yeah. It is, I would say it is a process of letting go of some level of control and attachment to how it should be, how it should feel, because when you practice, you are definitely in the here and in the now. Your mind would not take you to the past or to the future because it's strong sensations, but then at the same time, letting go of that control and allowing yourself to accept what's coming at you in terms of uncomfortable sensations and emotions. And interesting thing is that they do subside. It's usually, I would say, the first 5 minutes, and I make sure that I deep breathe, breathe deeply. And I say to myself, it's 5 deep breaths is 1 minute. So it's 5 more times of those 5 deep breaths. And after that, it becomes easier. And it becomes, we move from the physical sensations to some emotional release. And after that emotional release, there comes a point where you feel very comfortable standing on nails. Like you wouldn't think that it's possible, but you do feel very good after.
Well, how long have you actually stood on a sadhu board?
It varies. Just for physical benefits, because it's also on the soles of the feet, we have more than 70,000 nerves ending. So just for the physical benefits and stimulate like lots of systems in the body, metabolism, lymphatic system, blood circulation, even 1 minute is beneficial, or 5 minutes. When it comes with working with intention, it is a different story because there is a process to it. And when I am working with intention, it can be anywhere from 20-25 minutes to 1 hour.
Wow, that would be very intense. But as you said, the sensations subside.
They do.
That is so
Absolutely.
fascinating because, of course, you know, I love pedicures.
Mm-hmm.
And because of all the sensations, the meridians, all the points on your feet, I never really considered that. And it would be quite an experience. I would say that there would be emotional release. Do people cry?
Yes, absolutely. Cry, laugh. My first my first practice with when I was doing it with another master, I used my voice a lot, and initially I may have been yelling, but then after the discomfort subsides, I actually transitioned into like singing.
Oh, singing.
Singing, yes. And I also very often by the end of the practice, I feel like dancing. It's because you get so comfortable, and there is lots of processes going on in terms of the energy. So you release some of the blocks for the energy. You feel the energy is flowing freely, and I feel like I am coming back to myself when I practice.
So it's what you're saying, it sounds euphoric. It sounds like transformational, like you elevate your vibration, you elevate your sense, you become empowered, probably lighthearted and light-minded.
100%.
Wow,
Yes.
it's
Yeah.
fascinating. It's really fascinating. And you know, I often, this is reminding me, we have a place up north and we have a shoreline. And on our shoreline, there's often sand, but you know, due to the waves, we often get a lot of rocks.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, I will navigate around the rocks, and often I can't escape a rock, and it's on my feet, and I'm like, oh, you know, I sometimes test myself now that we're talking about this to see if I can actually walk across the rocks without feeling the pain. I'm going to be way more mindful of that now.
Yeah, isn't that interesting? Same for me. For example, I don't like being cold at all. Like winter is not my favorite season. And like I used to complain all the time, oh, like it's too cold. Oh, like the wind is blowing and it's too freezing on my face, right? But since I started practicing Sadhu board, standing, uh, now all of a sudden I feel like, okay, I can tolerate it. So like your whole mindset changes because that's the whole idea. Like you're developing stamina, and some of the stressful situations that may before would put you out of balance and trigger you, once you practice it regularly, you learn how to deal with those uncomfortable situations better.
Yeah, it's very true. When as you're speaking, I'm thinking I have been to the Scandinavian spa up at Blue Mountain. I don't know if people are familiar. It's in Ontario, Canada. And they have the cold baths and the hot
Mm-hmm.
baths. And so for detox purposes, you're supposed to go in the cold baths.
Mm-hmm.
And whoa, it takes courage. I'm going to say
Yeah,
courage.
I believe you. And it's funny, it's interesting you mentioning that because when we did a group practice at my studio, it was three more other ladies. Right after that, for some reasons, we started talking about the cold plunge and this Scandinavian spa in Blue Mountain. And we said, let's go for it, let's try it. And we actually like booked a trip. We're going there in April. So it's interesting how you're mentioning it now. There is some synchronicity going on.
Yeah, that is cool. I do challenge myself, but it is uncomfortable. And I noticed that, you know, it is a mindset. Are you going to take the challenge? I mean, you don't want to hurt yourself, and it
Mm-hmm.
doesn't hurt yourself, but it is a cold plunge. And also
Mm-hmm.
having a place up north, we call it the polar bear dip, where you go into the water, you know, at New Year's especially is very popular, even in Oakville, Ontario,
Mm-hmm.
Canada too. You go on the polar bear dip, and it is invigorating.
I believe you. And this is something that I've been kind of like putting aside in terms of trying this experience because of my fear of being cold and very uncomfortable. So, but it's definitely on my list of things to experience.
Okay, so let's say somebody is interested in trying this experience with the Sadhu board. How can they prepare and what can they expect?
In terms of preparation, it is part of the process when we go through the whole experience. So we start with a very gentle warming up the body, making sure that our nervous system is ready for it, or like on a physical level. I take time to work with intention and making sure that it meets some of the, like, I don't want to say requirements, but yes, like to a certain degree, the intention needs to be strong enough for a person to go through that experience. So in terms of preparation, Linda, I would say a person needs to ask herself or himself, why do I want to do that? What is it that I want to change in my life, whether it's relationship, whether it's going after their dreams in terms of career or their own business. So it's the question. It's a question of intention. Yeah. Like what do I want to work with? Because Sadhu board is just a tool to be with yourself and to understand yourself better. It's a tool for self-exploration and personal growth.
Yes, I feel like you could think of it as a challenge, or you could think of it as like a release, transformation.
Yeah, it is both.
Yeah, it is both. It takes courage. I would say it takes courage. And so how long, because I know I had reached out to you and you said, to stand on the board, to expect to stand on the board for 15 minutes.
I would say if someone is trying it for the first time, it would be at least 15 minutes. I don't like to kind of like put a limit on the time because I would be guided by the process. So like the idea is initial discomfort subsides, and then there are some things start coming up for a person in terms of emotions, maybe some memories that they need to release and let go of. So while things continue coming up for a person, it means that like the process is still there, and it's not really advisable just to stop and go off the nail boards. And then eventually when they feel like, yes, this is my intention and I can actually feel my intention, I can breathe it, and I have that sensation how I would feel once that intention materializes. So that would be a sign that the practice is complete.
So it would change for each person.
Very different for every person, and it can be very different depending on an intention. For the same person, depending on an intention.
Well, that's really interesting. Now, do you do it solo? Is it like a solitary practice, or do you do it on offered in groups? Like, I'm sure you offer this at Goji Studio.
Yes, I do both. The individual session, I would say, very profound, and especially if someone is trying it for the first time, they may want to go for individual session. At the same time, group is interesting. There is a group dynamic going on, and it's almost like the energy is elevated because there is a reason why a certain group of people gathered in one spot, and the energy elevates you and support, like it's pretty much supporting each other versus someone going through that experience individually. But in both scenarios, I'm there to guide.
Now, would one person at a time go on the board and then they'd wait to the next person, or would there be two people at a time on the boards?
It's one person at a time because I'm there to support them and for them to step on the boards, and I'm just there for them for the first minute or so before I go and help another person.
Yeah, I was in an experience where we did rapé, which is it's a long story, but we were in a circle, and watching everybody do the practice before it reached you, it creates a level of anticipation, and I have to say their anxiety. But it's very interesting, and then supporting other people, because community, as we say in yoga, sangha, community is so important and it's so powerful. I think I would love to with another person, just to have that, like that moral support and that feeling of, camaraderie.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. It is very, very beautiful and powerful.
Oh, well, this was
Just as with a yoga class, right? When it's done in person, we feel the energy of the whole group.
It's true. And that's why, as a meditation guide, people struggle practicing meditation on their own. But when they come together in a group, in a class that I will lead, then they feel this support. They find it much easier to practice meditation. And even if you're practicing anything at home, having that motivation and that persistence, it helps, going to a class and being surrounded by those who are like-minded and with the same intention.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's the idea.
Now, I just have a couple more questions. How long did it take you to become a Sadhu master?
So as with anything when it comes to experience, I would say it's important to develop your own practice, like a strong practice. And that for me took about half a year. Working with different intentions, trying different things. Sometimes it is with the music, sometimes it is without the music and in the nature or when I'm traveling. So it's through the experience you develop the skills that complement the knowledge. So in terms of the practice, I've been practicing for 8 months now. And to become a guide, to be able to guide others, it's been 8 weeks of intensive training and working with other masters from the school. So the school is in Bali, actually.
Sorry, pardon?
The school is located in Bali, and it's an online school with with online learning. But of course, we have the calls where it's live questions and answers and workshops.
Excellent. Now I have a question. I know you are married. Does your husband practice Sadhu?
I haven't convinced him yet.
You could be the trendsetter.
I've tried, and sometimes it's easier to work with people who are not related to you versus your loved ones, your relatives. So my son, who is 13 years old, he tried for 30 seconds or so, just out of curiosity. And recently, actually, my brother decided, and he let me guide you through his experience, and he did 45 minutes of standing on
wow. Was that his first time?
First time, yes.
Oh my goodness. Here I am standing recording this, and I'm thinking, I shift from one leg and I shift to the other. You wouldn't want to do that on a Sadhu board. Actually, it would be very grounding because you would have to place both feet on the ground. And even to stand in any solitary and static position for 45 minutes, that's a long time.
Yeah, it's interesting that it sounds a lot, but in the process, it doesn't feel like it. So,
wow, that is very cool. Okay, well, I am planting the seed in my mind to try practicing Sadhu. And I tell you, if I was going to practice with somebody, it would be you. I feel that you honor the practice and you really feel the benefits of it mentally and emotionally. And that's something to really admire. So I do admire that.
Thank you, Linda. Your words mean a lot. And just this opportunity to share about the experience, because I feel like people just can become a little bit happier through adapting something like this.
Yeah, it will really show you your personal power, like, how your mind reacts to it.
Yeah, believing in yourself, knowing that you can do it and going through it. Wow. There is lots to the practice, lots of aspects to it.
Well, how about I practice walking on the rocks by my shoreline for a little bit, and then I'm gonna retreat.
Yeah, sounds like a plan.
Okay, well, Lena, I'm so grateful that you shared with A Call for Love listeners about this practice, because I hadn't heard of it. It sounds really interesting, and I feel like there are many physical benefits as well as mental benefits that it's something to consider for sure.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you, Linda.
And we will place all your links and how to contact you in the show notes. But I really appreciate you coming on to A Call for Love and sharing your passion.
My pleasure, and thank you for having me today. It's my honor. Thank you.
Okay, so thank you everybody for joining A Call for Love. You will find all her links in the show notes, and have a great day. Thank you for listening. It would mean so much to me if you could share this episode with someone you feel could benefit from its message, and subscribe to A Call for Love podcast to receive new weekly episodes every Tuesday. Head over to globalwellnesseducation.com to learn more.